Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another video for the month of Gore 2019, and this time I am here to finally get back into reviewing movies for the month. I did one movie review earlier this month for Doom Annihilation, and that was it. That was when it comes to movie reviews, that was it. So I'm here to get back into it. We are almost done with October. We only have 10 more days after this, so I need to do some more reviews, and then we're gonna start off with this one. I recently rewatched one of my favorite comedy horror movies ever, and that of course is Zombieland. Now, of course, the second one is out this weekend, so I thought it'd be a good idea to rewatch this movie, even though I've seen it a dozen times. Love it. It's one of those movies you can put on. You can put it at any point in the movie. It's one of those movies, one of those rare movies that you can put it at any point in the movie and understand what's going on, even if you haven't seen it in a long time, and just have a good time. You know, it's an 80-minute movie. It's quick. It's breezy. It's fun. Well, the characters are likable. The cast is great. There's some decent action. There's some good practical effects for the zombies. So on both fronts, the horror and the comedy, it does both of those right. It might not be scary, but it definitely is a horror movie in its own way. It's definitely leaning more to comedy, but when it comes to the practical effects and the zombies itself, you know, it's well done. It's well done. And I love this film. I cannot believe it's been 10 years though. Holy shit. 10 years? A decade since this movie came out. But we have the sequel. I'm seeing it later today, and I'm excited. I don't know. The reviews have been okay so far, like in the high 60s, which is not bad for a movie like this. But this has a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's one of those things where I don't always lean towards like, oh, Rotten Tomatoes said this is good, so I should trust them. But everything I've been seeing of the movie hasn't been like really exciting me. So I'm already kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be good. It could be one of those sequels for movies that haven't had a sequel in a very long time or never got a sequel, and it's like years and years later. Like I think Maleficent, that was a 5-year wait, right, for that sequel, and that came out the same weekend. So Hot Tub Time Machine 2, Bad Santa 2, what else? There's a couple of good examples. When it comes to comedies, usually they're bad. Vacation, like we got a reboot of that sucked. So we have a lot of really bad comedies for movies that were great, that, yeah, the sequels just, they're not good. So I was a little worried about that one. So we'll see how it is. But I'm here to talk about the first one. So let's get to it. Does Zombieland hold up? I loved it. I saw it like a dozen times, but I just rewatched it yesterday. First time I saw it in a few years, actually. And yeah, it holds up. Like I said before, it is one of those movies where you could just watch it and just have a good time. And that has not changed. It has not really aged badly at all. It is weird watching this movie now, after not watching it for a few years, and seeing people that you've been seeing in a lot of drama roles recently, like Emma Stone and Jesse Eisenberg, even Woody Harrelson, and stuff like 3 Billboards and The Last Planet of the Apes movie. It's weird seeing all of them, you know, in this, and just having a good time. It really is a movie about camaraderie. It's about the cast and their chemistry. It's just about having a good time. It's just a fun zombie comedy, and I feel like it's the one that really brought the zombie comedy or just zombie subgenre back to life in a way. I know Dawn of the Dead kind of brought it back. I'm talking about the remake. And then, of course, Shaun of the Dead was the same year, I believe, which is funny thinking about it, that Shaun of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Which one actually came out first? I think Dawn of the Dead came out first, and then like a couple months later, I think Shaun of the Dead. I could be wrong. But really, this is the one that made it a little bit more popular, I feel like. It was pretty successful. It had all the quotes, you know, the double tap, the rules, the nut up or shut up. You know, I had all this stuff that I remember even back in like 2009, 2010, even 2011, people would still quote. It's one of those movies that it might not have made like a ton of money at the time, but it stuck with people, and it got a lot of people to rent it. And it was a great time. It really was. It was just a fun movie. And of course, it has one of the best cameos ever of all time, which for some reason, if you don't know, I'm not going to spoil, but let me just say, it's terrific. It's one of the best cameos ever, and it still is. I was actually shocked by how small it felt after not watching it for a few years. Like it was like legitimately a cameo. For some reason, in my mind's eye, I remember it being a much bigger, meatier role, but it wasn't. But yeah, so overall, like the acting is perfect for this kind of movie, and all the characters are really likable. You got, of course, Jesse Eisenberg, who just plays Jesse Eisenberg. He plays Jesse Eisenberg in this. I can assume that he's playing Jesse Eisenberg in the new movie too, and he does a good job with it because I mean he's Jesse Eisenberg last time I checked, and he's likable. He is likable. His narration is well done. All the rules, they're fun. His personality actually doesn't annoy me like it does with a lot of other characters, like a Ben Stiller. He's actually really good in this, and when he teams up with Tallahassee, of course, Woody Harrelson's character, it's a great team up. It's actually a really good pairing. It's one of those kind of pairings where you see it all the time, where you have the nerdy guy and the really tough guy pairing together, but it really works here. It works extremely well. Some of the best of this type of team up, and those two are great together, and Woody Harrelson's awesome in this. He's funny, he does all the dramatic parts right, which there's like maybe 2 of in this movie, but they work, and all the funny parts, all the action parts, he does a great job. That's actually, I think, one of the first times where we saw Woody Harrelson in something that was really like action focused, and it was really good. He was really good in this movie as Tallahassee, a very likable and memorable character, that's for sure. Then we have, of course, Emma Stone playing Wichita, and then you got Abigail Breslin playing Little Rock, and they're both good too. I do think it's a little weird watching this now after 10 years of Emma Stone just like rising up, because she does, don't get me wrong, she has a lot to do in this. It's just like it's very, considering how big of a star she is now, it's weird seeing her in a role like this, where she's kind of like the love interest, and she has a little bit of backstory. Of course, she has her sister, so there's a chemistry there that works. But I don't know, it's a little weird just seeing her kind of like be in the background sometimes and just be the love interest for Jesse Eisenberg. By the way, that relationship works out. I mean, again, it's like 80 minutes long, so you're not going to get a ton of development for these characters, but what there is well done. The dialogue works pretty well. I mean, it's typical stuff you would expect from a comedy like this. You know, it's just when it's not being funny, or it's not being, you know, clever, or not focusing on the story, the dialogue is well written enough. You know, there's people getting to know each other and stuff, and it works well. I really like the implementation of the rules. That still works here. I thought that would actually bother me now after 10 years of like hearing other movies and other people just like recite the rules, like don't forget double tap, never use a bathroom. But it actually, one thing I'll give this movie a huge credit for, it doesn't overstay the welcome when it comes to some of the jokes. Like the rules, they don't overstay their welcome. Nut up or shut up. You know, Woody Harrelson's not saying that every 5 minutes, you know. Even like some of the other like smaller jokes, just like Jesse Eisenberg's whole thing about the rules, where he only uses the rules because he doesn't want to actually communicate with people. It's his like excuse for not wanting to communicate with people, pretty much. That whole development there is not the main focus, which is good. The main focus is just having these characters together and bonding and fighting zombies. So I appreciate that. Even like the zombie kill of the week, that's not a thing they overuse here. I have a feeling that some of the stuff is going to be stuff they overuse in Zombieland 2, but I guess I'll find out soon. Yeah, I mean, even the practical stuff for the zombies, they look great. The dialogue, all that stuff, it works. It really is a very fun movie, very breezy at 80 minutes. If you don't even count the credits, it's like 80 minutes. And it's fun. If I had any problems, I've always had a problem with one thing in this movie, where you have Emma Stone and Abigail Breslin's characters. They're kind of like con artists in a way. They even do a flashback where they show before the zombie apocalypse, them being con artists, where they like trick men into giving them money, which, you know, whatever. And they're shown to be pretty smart. I mean, they're young, I get it, but they're pretty smart. Emma Stone is probably, like, I'm assuming, in her early 20s in this. But there's a thing they do at the end of the movie that always bothered me, and it really destroyed the logic of these characters. And it just really annoyed me. It really did. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say they make a lot of noise when they know that there's zombies in the world that will be attracted by the noise, and it really annoyed me. I mean, that whole sequence was fun, don't get me wrong. It just really made me think, oh, these characters are fucking stupid. I mean, I get the 12-year-old, but the 20-something-year-old that knows about the zombies and stuff, and she's been pretty headstrong so far, is just, yeah, I don't know. It's a little annoying. And also a negative, I know this could sound pretty silly, but I'll explain. I think it's a little too short. You know, I mean, I like that short. It's breezy. It's good and nice. But I feel like if they added another 10 minutes to the movie, it would have been fine. Add a little bit more character development, maybe a couple more scenes of some zombie action, because there's not as much as I make it sound like there is. There isn't that much when it comes to the zombies. It's more about the characters, which is fine, perfectly. I would have even liked a little bit more of the cameo. That would be nice. Yeah, it's just a little too short. It's like 80 minutes, which I'm okay with 80 minutes, but I would have liked it to be 90. 90 is like the sweet spot for a good, solid, fun movie like this. But yeah, overall, Zombieland is a really fun movie still, and I think it really works because of its limited cast of characters. Like here we have, we have 4 characters. We got 1 cameo character, and we got 1 character on a flashback, and that's it. Which is making me really worried about the sequel, because in the sequel, you got the 4 main characters, then you got Rosario Dawson, and then you got the weed guy that Abigail Breslin hooks up with. Then you got the stupid girl who's dumb because she's blonde. I guess that's the joke, I'm assuming. And then who else? You got Luke Wilson, and then you got the clone Jesse Eisenberg, played by Thomas Middleditch. So you have like 5 other characters right there, and I'm sure there's other characters that appear throughout, which I really enjoyed that in Zombieland 1. It was these 4 characters, the cameo character that's barely in the movie, and then the flashback character that doesn't even meet any of the other characters besides the person that's having the flashback. So that's what I think really worked with Zombieland, and obviously they're going for a little bit bigger with this one, and it's been 10 years, so I thought maybe, you know, Ruben Fleischer, who didn't write it, but he directed it. You know, he's directed a lot of crappy movies recently. I thought maybe they're just kind of doing this to milk it and whatever, make some money before everybody completely forgets what Zombieland is, and it might not have the same feeling. But I'm hearing reviews are pretty okay, so I'm excited for it, for the most part. Anyway, that is my review for Zombieland. If I had to give it a score, I guess I'd just do 0 to 10. I'd still give it an 8.5 out of 10. There's some problems here and there. You know, I mean, it's not a perfect movie, but it is a very, very fun film, and I highly recommend it if you are somebody that likes zombies, you like comedies, you like Woody Harrelson, which I don't know how the fuck do you not like Woody Harrelson. But if you dislike Jesse Eisenberg, which I know a lot of people do, I think ever since Batman v Superman, people have really disliked him. And I think there's a lot of people that don't like him because of Social Network, but that's because his character, of course, Mark Zuckerberg, is extremely unlikable, but he does a good job of that. So me, personally, because of that movie, I like him. Because he makes himself seem so unlikable. Also, I heard he's kind of a dick in real life, so I guess that's another reason. But in movies, I like him. But yeah, he's fine for me. But if you don't like Jesse Eisenberg, he's the most Jesse Eisenberg he's ever been, because this is like one of his first roles. So, not one of his first roles, but you know what I mean. Right after this, he did Adventureland. I remember that, because I was like, is this a sequel to Zombieland? Because I'm funny. Anyway, there you go. That's what a weird way to end this review. But anyway, that's it. Zombieland. Still fun. Still fresh. And I like the way they implement all the rules. And you know another thing? Here's another little weird compliment that I'll give it. They do a good job with the opening credits and stuff, where they have like the credits appear on the screen, and then like characters interact with the words and stuff. They're like knocking them away and stuff. I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. I know it's weird, but I like it. So I'm hoping Zombieland 2 brings that back. I'm sure they will. Anyway, there you go. That's it. Bye. Boo! Scared you.